What is good, YouTube, and welcome back to another CZN video. And today we're going to be talking all about the rate up banner for Haru and if she is actually worth going for. Now, I know a lot of you guys probably already pulled her or are currently trying to summon on her banner. If you like her design and playstyle, you can definitely just get her. She's a pretty solid unit overall. She does have some weaknesses, which I'll talk about, but the biggest fun point about Haru is not just her design, but also the fact that you can actually make her skills do a ton of damage, especially this anchor shot with the right epiphanies and also just the setup. You can see from the screen here, this is a screenshot from the official Discord that I stumbled upon. This anchor shot does, what, is it like 1300 damage here? It almost one-shots a ton of bosses, and it's super OP if you can get the right setup for her. So you can kind of see she is a very hard-hitting character, but like I said, she does have some downsides which will make her pretty hard to use. So about Haru, she does hit very hard, but you'll notice that her AP costs are extremely high. On top of that, you also will see that you do need to chain your skills and you do need some conditionals to actually make your power charge, which is another attack, do extra damage to bosses. If you're using this on a boss with adds that spawn that you don't really care about, this just does less damage for no reason. Having a card that can AoE sometimes, and this does do a decent amount of damage, is pretty solid, but you can't really choose when to use it in most situations, and you're going to find that her AoE damage isn't going to be higher than something like a Kairon's or other characters out there. Still a pretty solid damage dealer, but you can see because her AP costs are high, she really relies on Mika. And that's probably why Mika's on this banner as well. Mika is the best AP generator in the game by far, and it makes it so that you can actually allow your Haru to be able to chain her expensive skills. And the reason why I say her skills are expensive, if you're thinking it's probably just like 2 cost, well, the usual combo is anchor shot into anchor pointer into like a lift anchor into another anchor shot, or you can take out the anchor pointer. So I know I'm talking a lot about anchors, so let me talk about these 3 cards so you kind of understand what the playstyle is, because it does get kind of confusing. So this is like a very key part of her kit. So this will actually make it so that the anchor shot in your hand, which is 2 cost base, gets to 3 cost and does extra damage. This is how you hit super hard. You'll also see that for each time this card is used in the battle, not just in one turn, it gets stronger and stronger. So what you want to end up doing is spamming your anchor shot to stack it up, and then you want to use this ability, anchor pointer, to draw another anchor shot from your draw pile or the graveyard. So usually you're spending about 5 AP a turn to do a lot of damage, and on top of that, you do have another buff which costs you 1 AP, which gives you attack and will make it so that your cards do extra damage, and you retain this. This means that you don't discard it at the end of your turn. So you can kind of see she's like one of the most selfish DPSs in the game, if not the most, because you only have a limited amount of AP, and you can see just from her like main cycle, which only attacks like twice, you're going to be using like 4 or 5 AP every turn, which is absolutely crazy. So she's very reliant on Mika, which is fine because you can use her. However, it makes it a little bit harder to build your teams for some late game content. And the one I'm talking about is in the Basin of Hyperspace in Dimensional of Dawn. This is where you start needing to use 2 teams. And if you're trying to use another like AP light character, like a low AP spending character, then you're going to see that you're struggling because Mika has to be designated to your Haru. So it makes it so that building your 2 teams is a little bit tougher, but for the most part, when you're building one team going through chaos and stuff like that, it's going to be fine, but just keep in mind that she is very AP reliant. So you're going to be running 2 of these characters together pretty much all the time. Now, another thing I will say is because she's so reliant on certain cards, it's not like every other card is good. Like regular anchor, power anchor, anchor drop, they're okay, but they don't really do as much damage. You really want to stack your anchor shot. She really relies on drawing. So because of this, you mostly want to designate your 3rd slot to a drawing character. So this means you're usually going to use something like a Cassius, which has a ton of draw, right? He can actually select a card from the draw pile to draw to you, or you can also pair them with pair her with Nia, because Nia kind of has the same thing where you can reveal 3 random cards and then choose one to draw. So you can get those like anchor shots. But the thing is, when you're going through chaos with her, which is, the area of content you're farming your save data to make your character stronger, you really need a shielder because damage mitigation is just super important, right? It's going to be way better to bring another sustain than just like a draw character for the most part. This makes it so that she is going to go crazy a lot, which is good or bad depending on how you see it. And you are really going to have to rely on chaining your cards early to kill bosses, especially for the harder levels starting at like level 4 or level 5. So you can kind of see this character is definitely one that needs a lot of setup and support, but the damage potential she can do, if you've tested her out in the event store, you probably know, is absolutely insane. Her ego skill is also pretty decent. You can see that she does extra damage with it, 6 points, but it does a ton of damage, and it also will go up by the buffs you have. And this will be pretty solid with Mika because she does give you wave, which will count as a buff. It says tide, but it's wave. I don't know why it's not fixed yet. It's been like that since beta, but other buffers will make her very strong as well. So you can kind of see, pretty decent character. I'd put her like in the A tier. I wouldn't put her in S tier, to be honest, because she's a very selfish DPS. And even though she nukes, the setup that you need to make her nuke, if you're using another character, you might even do the same damage over that time period if you use that character, right? So definitely good character. Is she worth going for? You can. If you want a really good single target nuker, she's really good. But I would say that summoning on her banner is never bad because you're going to see the rate ups, which we already looked at, is going to be Beryl and Mika. So both these characters are pretty good. Beryl is pretty underrated. She's a really good single target DPS. Funnily enough, she works kind of similarly to Haru in a sense, kind of like budget Haru, but she's still pretty decent. I wouldn't say she's very strong, but she's a decent single target DPS. And then you have Mika, who's like really powerful. And the thing with Mika is with her dupes, she gets insanely strong. The biggest strengths from her dupes are going to come with the second dupe, where you'll heal when you take stress. This will just make it so that you're taking, whenever you're taking damage really, you're just healing in chaos, which is very strong. You're also going to see like these stat upgrades for your cards are nice. But this one is really good. Level 4 is extremely powerful because this surge ability, which you use to generate 2 of these source of waters, you get 4 of them, basically. So it makes it so that you can heal a lot and you get a turn with it. That just gives you a ton of AP. So if you pair this with something like a Haru or another heavy AP spender, or even a light AP spender that can draw a lot, you can make this ego skill go from just like a healing skill, which still is very good because you get 2 AP as well, into like a 2-turn healing, giga chaining, AP generating turn, right? You basically double the power of her ego skill, which is absolutely crazy if you think about it. So her dupes are very strong, especially at 4. And then 6 is also very good because at the start of battle, you gain 2 wave. And wave is basically how you generate AP even more. You'll see that when wave goes to 3, you will get 1 action point and go to 0 stacks. So just a super strong AP battery if you maxed her out. At 4 and 6, she becomes really strong. She's already very strong without dupes. But the reason why she's really good to go for, or I guess Haru's banner is good to summon for, is because you will be able to also get Mika as well. If you look at the probability here, you're going to see that it's a 50% chance when you summon a 4-star for Mika or Beryl to appear. So you can see, very high chance. And if you do get high stacks of Beryl, high dupes of Beryl, you can use her as a DPS. She's not even that bad. But the banner, yes, Haru's good, but honestly for me, I've been summoning on this banner just to get Mika dupes because she's very good. And if you guys have been using Mika, you probably already know that she's very strong as well. But yeah, that's what I want to say about Haru. She will go into the normal rescue banner as well, so not really a high priority. If you don't care about Mika dupes, you don't even have to summon on her banner at all. There's a lot of characters that can kind of do what Mika does. And when I say a lot, I mean like one. Kayron kind of does like the same thing where he costs a ton of AP to use his skills, but he does a ton of damage. But his is like single target, a little bit less single target, but a lot more AoE, which makes him really good. But there's a lot of good characters in the game, and you're not wrong to pull for Haru's banner because you want her or because you want Mika dupes. But you're also not wrong if you don't pull on it at all and try to start stacking this rescue pity to choose the character that you want. But yeah, pretty much it for this video though, guys. Thank you for watching. I will say, in general, the Haru banner will give you a stronger early game because you're getting more Mika dupes and potentially Haru. But this pity that you're building up to 300 will be important later to get certain characters that you are missing out on. But yeah, thank you for watching. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.